Hello guys, this is Aniket and today I'm going to explain you Bernoulli's theorem and I'm from Ganwell Academy. So let's get to the theorem. Now the theorem states that for an ideal fluid flow, the total energy, that is the sum of kinetic energy, potential energy and the pressure of the fluid per unit volume of the fluid remains constant at all points in the path of flow. And this theorem is given by the equation P plus rho gh plus half rho v square is equal to constant, where P is the pressure, rho is the density, v is the velocity of the fluid, or P1 plus rho I gh1 plus half rho I v1 square is equal to P2 plus rho I gh2 plus half rho I v2 square, where rho I is also the density of ideal fluid. Yeah, so let's get to the proof. Now, I want you to remember this or take down this figure and observe the figure. Here at end A, the end A, the cross-sectional area is bigger than the cross-sectional area of end B. So, end A has an area of A1, end B has an area of A2, and end B is at a height of h2, which is greater than the height of end A, which is h1. So let's consider non-viscous and incompressible fluid flowing steadily through a tube of non-uniform cross-sectional area. Now at A, the liquid enters at A of curved surface area of A1 and leaves at B. But A has an height h1 and the velocity flow here flows v1 at a velocity of v1 and leaves at b with the parameters of a2 h2 and v2. Now I need you to remember that the area a1 is greater than area a2. Okay, so what basically happens is the velocity of the water is increased when it leaves from the end b, because see, the greater the area, the lesser the velocity. So a1 is greater in area and a2 is lesser. So liquid's velocity at a is v1 and liquid's velocity at b is v2. Thus v1 is less than v2. Remember this. Now the mathematical proof. Now we have from the equation of force, F is equal to PA or P is equal to F by A. Now the fluid enters A with a force F1, which is equal to P1 A1, and similarly leaves at B with F2 is equal to P2 A2. Now let us assume the length of the tube to be x. Then F1x is equal to P1 A1x is equal to P1 times volume. This is the capital V stands for the volume. Now why did I substitute A1x with volume? Now look at this equation. P1A1x is equal to P1V. So as we know, volume is area into length. In this scenario, x is the length and a1 is the area. So it is the volume. Similarly applied to the end B, we have f2x is equal to p2a2x is equal to p2v. Now we know that work is equal to force times displacement, which is f1x minus f2x. Now after we write these equations, we have P1 minus P2 times volume. Now from the work energy theorem, we know that the total change in the energy of the system is equal to the work done. Yeah, so thus we have P1 minus P2 times volume is equal to half mv2 square minus half mv1 square plus mgh2 minus mgh1. So Now from the formula of density, as you all know, D is equal to m by v. Density is equal to mass by volume. Now we can write mass is equal to density into volume. So m is equal to rho v. When we substitute this mv, rho v is equal to m in the above equation, we have P1 minus P2 times volume is equal to half rho v v2 square minus half rho v v1 square plus rho vgh2 minus rho vgh1. As I told you, the velocity v2 is greater than v1, so kinetic energy at B is higher than the kinetic energy at A. So on cancelling out the V, that is the volume of the liquid, uh, I'm sorry I mentioned it as water, it is the liquid. And see, because we cancel this volume because uh, the volume entering A is equal to the volume leaving the volume of liquid leaving B. So the total volume is constant. The amount of liquid which is entering A is equal to the amount of liquid leaving B. So the volume is constant, we can simply cancel it. On cancelling, we have P1 minus P2 is equal to half rho V2 square minus half rho V1 square plus rho GH2 minus rho GH1. On rearranging this, we get the equation. P1 plus half rho V1 square plus rho GH1 is equal to P2 plus half rho V2 square plus rho GH2. That's it. That is the Bernoulli's equation and hence proved. But Bernoulli also assumed some stuff to prove this equation. I told you two conditions in the beginning, that the liquid is incompressible and it is an ideal fluid, and it is also a non-viscous fluid. And he also assumed that the flow of the ideal fluid is laminar in nature, and wouldn't be valid in the case of turbulent flow. So, and there are no fractional energy losses such as the frictional loss, the friction between water and the wall of the tube. There is no friction and there are no energy changes between them. And that's it. Thank you.